So as we move forward, Steve, who do you have your eye on that could be, um, on the horizon to make an announcement here?
Yeah, there are a couple guys that are out there that are still, ready to pop, ready to make a decision. I know that John Walker, an outstanding defensive tackle from Zephyr Hills, Florida, is one of those guys. He is an outstanding prospect from the state of Florida, defensive tackle. I think he's right around number 90 nationally. Walker is. And obviously, you can't have enough big guys who can run and make plays. That's kind of the first rule of this whole thing. And John Walker certainly would meet that criteria as you look at it. He's a guy that the Buckeyes have been in on early and really pushed. I was wrong when I said Zephyr Hills, Florida. He's from Kissimmee, Florida, Osceola High School, ranked number 99 in the country, 6'3", 310 pounds. And he's got a ton of offers in his own right. A lot of speculation that, believe it or not, Central Florida may be the team to beat on him. And obviously, they've been a powerhouse in the American Athletic Conference in recent years and done pretty well down there. Probably right now the best program in the state of Florida. Now, I'm just joking because I think a lot of people think Miami, Florida is going to be a top 15 team this coming year, and Florida could be a top 25 team if everything kind of goes their way. Florida State's still kind of finding their way at this point. But Central Florida's done some great things, obviously. And there is a push for him to stay home and play at Central Florida. But John Walker very much considering Ohio State playing the Big Ten. And we should have his announcement a week from tomorrow on the 28th is when he kind of put down that he would make his announcement. And so I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. The other guy that I'm kind of looking at right now is a guy by the name of Desmond Umeozulu, and I'm going to punch him up here on my computer as well, because I believe it or not, I do not have all the information on all these guys committed to memory. But he is from Upper Marlboro, Maryland, from Charles Herbert High School, 6'6", 240 pounds, ranked the number 163 player in the country, number 19 edge rusher, defensive end, number 3 overall in Maryland, and he's got a ton of offers. And he told Bill Kurlick from our staff, who handles a lot of the recruiting coverage, that he could make a decision anytime in the next several days. So I'm not saying it's Ohio State. I'm not crystal balling him to Ohio State or anything like that. But Desmond Umeozulu could be another guy that could help Ohio State build that fortress up front on the defensive line. They're trying to get it rebuilt and reloaded, and could be a guy certainly there that you're looking at. So there's a couple guys. I know the last week or so, Ohio State still has the number 1 class, Mark, but there were a couple guys that slipped through the net here the last few days, and it's got a lot of people. Even though you've got the number 1 ranked class, I made a joke on Twitter that it's the worst recruited number 1 ranked class in the 40-year history of these hallowed recruiting rankings.
What I found interesting about the one that got away yesterday, or here in the last 2 days, the linebacker out of Louisiana that chose USC, was here you've got a top 5 linebacker in the country out of Louisiana. And he chooses USC, which is now a Big Ten counterpart to Ohio State. And his other third selection right there was Wisconsin, which kind of hit me kind of odd that those 3 schools would be in the mix for a top 5 linebacker in the state of Louisiana with no SEC teams on the radar. So that was kind of intriguing.
Yeah, Wisconsin's a great linebacker school as long as offensive line as well. They've put a lot of good defensive linemen and linebackers into the NFL, no question. And I think they've got a linebacker, Hurtig, up there, who's going to be one of the best in the country this season. So, yeah, all indications on Tackett Curtis was it was Ohio State, and a couple of the guys in our network at 24/7 had even crystal balled him to Ohio State. But in the last 48 hours before he made that verbal commitment to USC, something obviously changed. I don't know if it was name, image, and likeness remuneration related or what it was, but Lincoln Riley was able to pull a flip on Ohio State there, and really not necessarily a flip because he'd never committed publicly to Ohio State, although everybody who's in the know on these things was led to believe it was going to be Ohio State, and then it turned out it wasn't. So, and I thought Lane Kiffin had a really neat comment this week at the SEC Media Days. You've legalized cheating, so now don't be surprised when all the top prospects end up with the people who have the most money. So, again, I can't say whether USC bought this kid or not, and perhaps that had nothing to do with it. Ohio State has gone to essentially what's a 4-2-5 defense with Jim Knowles, who's the defensive coordinator and the linebackers coach, and tells you, on face that they're only going to play 2 linebackers probably 50 to 70% of the time. That's going to be their base. They will play 3 linebackers against some opponents and in some down and distance sets or whatever, perhaps score and time or whatever dictates when they're going to change personnel and go to 4-3. But they have 9 or 10 scholarship linebackers for 2 starters, and they just took 2 national top 50 guys at that position this past year with C.J. Hicks and Gabe Powers. So you look at it on the surface and you say, well, you need linebackers in every class, at least 1 or 2. And Ohio State, believe me, back to Raekwon McMillan or Jerome Baker, hasn't had a difference maker per se at the linebacker position. They're all American. Let's just use that litmus test in some regard or another. So you need the best players you can get your hands on, no doubt about it. And it was sad to see Troy Bowles, also the son of Todd Bowles, the coach of Tampa Bay. He picked Georgia. So there's 2 blue chip linebackers, Bowles and Curtis, that went by the boards for the Buckeyes, and a running back as well. Justice Haynes picked Alabama here this week as well instead of Ohio State. So, but again, Ohio State's got Travion Henderson as an indentured servant through 2023. So aren't going to be a lot of carries for a 2023 freshman coming in like Justice Haynes next year. So maybe that's what he was looking at. But at any rate, some guys that were very highly ranked, heavily recruited, would have fit in really good in a number 1 ranked Ohio State recruiting class, decided to go elsewhere. And that's cause for great concern there on the banks of the Olentangy, as Keith Jackson used to say.